presentation of Turner Sports.
Leadership, experience, champion. Words that describe Bill Parcells. And words that may also someday be applied to the bright young New England quarterback Drew Bledsoe. Ray Rhodes, the new head coach at Philadelphia, he and running back Ricky Watters have brought their Super Bowl experience east from San Francisco. They'll also count on veteran quarterback Randall Cunningham to restore this team to prominence. It's the Eagles and Patriots next. It's the NFL on TNT. We come to you tonight from Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, hard by the banks of the Delaware River. This is the third week of the 1995 preseason, and we have a meeting tonight between the New England Patriots and the Philadelphia Eagles, gathering in preseason for the first time since 1988. The Patriots come in with a 1-1 preseason mark. The Philadelphia Eagles off to a quick start, and with their new head coach, they have won their first 2 ball games. It is a warm and muggy night tonight. 93 degrees, 60% humidity. Good evening, everybody. Verne Lundquist along with Pat Hayden. Speaking of hot, he said, segueing, the Red Sox, 13-14. They've captured the hearts of New England again, and they lead their division in baseball. And yet, in spite of that, Pat, there's a lot of football talk. New England won its last 7 last year. The fans are excited. I'm not so sure Bill Parcells shares that enthusiasm.
Have you ever met a coach in August who was excited about his team? But, you know, Bill Parcells told us this week that, hey, I don't know what kind of team I have this year. You know, he did go 10-6, but he's going to have 8 new starters when September 3rd opening season rolls around. So he has some big question marks. He says, I know what kind of team I want. I said, he wants a solid team. He wants a team that'll hold the lead in the fourth quarter, that can win a couple of ways. But he said, hey, I'm not sure I have that kind of team yet. So he's going to treat this game tonight a little bit like a regular season game. He wants to win it, and his regulars will go into the third quarter.
You know, you think about Bill Parcells, the 2 world titles with the New York Giants, and there's something we always equate with his name. You've got Parcells, and then you've got a running game. Well, he doesn't have that yet at New England, but he does have one of the outstanding young throwers in the league.
Yeah, Drew Bledsoe just had a terrific year a year ago. He led the National Football League in attempts, in completions, and yardage. You see right there, he can throw every kind of pass. This guy had a sensational year, but he's going to win some games for them, Verne, but unless he can get that running game going, and unless their defense can stop the run, I don't think New England can go as far as they went last year, or certainly as far as they want to go.
Well, you know, you think of the finish that New England had last year. The sense of direction these 2 teams had at the end of '94 could not be greater. The Eagles start out 7-2. They whip San Francisco on the road 40-8, and yet they fall apart, lose their last 7. Chaos and dissension on the team. New coach comes in, and Cunningham gets benched. Now, what does Ray Rhodes have to think about in a positive sense?
Well, in a positive sense, I think offensively they have a chance of being a good football team because they're skilled position players. You start with a couple of the wide receivers they returned from a year ago, Fred Barnett and Calvin Williams. I mean, this pair right today in the NFL this year, maybe the best combination wideouts in the entire NFL. Fred Barnett, I believe, is a certified star. Then you had Ricky Watters and Kevin Turner, 2 guys they brought in free agency. All 4 of those guys have a chance of making this team, I think, a very good offensive team.
Well, there's a difference in how these 2 teams finished 1994. There's also, I think right now, a difference in the perception of the 2 quarterbacks. Randall Cunningham, now a veteran, still hasn't won the big one, and there are persistent questions that remain about him.
Well, you know, just a few years ago, Randall Cunningham was one of the premier players in the National Football League, was the MVP in 1990, yet he ended last season on the bench. So there are still some questions and marks about him. In comes the new head coach, Ray Rhodes. In comes the new offensive coordinator, and John Gruden. Their message to him is you don't have to force it. You don't have to make the plays. Use the system. We can be a good team, and you can, again, be one of the premier players in the league.
Here's Ray Rhodes, 44 years of age, one of 7 Bill Walsh assistants who are serving, or rather now head coaches in the National Football League. Ray Rhodes and Bill Parcells, his second stint as a head coach. Of course, they won it all in 1986 and 1990. Became a broadcaster, realized that this was a goofy kind of life. So he's the one guy I know that really got back into coaching in a hurry. Bill Parcells in his 3rd year. Philadelphia won the toss. They'll receive to the right. And Pat O'Neill, number 5, will be kicking off for the New England Patriots. 1-1. They lost their opener to Detroit at home 30-17. Won in a sloppy game last week over Minnesota 21-14. Here's the kick. We're underway. Deep kick by O'Neill. It will be brought out by Kelvin Martin. And the wide receiver who will fill the role as a third down receiver for the Eagles this year. Brings it all the way out near the 31-yard line. Randall Cunningham. Benched the last 2 games of the season. Said it was the toughest time he's ever had in his professional life. But immediately after Ray Rhodes was signed, he named Randall Cunningham as his starter.
Yeah, you know, he's had to overcome major injuries to both his body and his ego over the last couple of years.
Mentioned across the 30. It's actually the 26, first down and 10. Cunningham, quick opener up the middle, and Ricky Waters out across the 30 now to the 33-yard line. Barnett and Williams, we heard about them. The trouble spot with this bunch is at tight end. Reggie Johnson dropped 3 balls last week. McKenzie anchors the line. And it's a line filled with promise, but with some question marks. It's a big line at 305-pound average. Kevin Turner, who played for the last 3 years with New England, is lined up at fullback. And Cunningham will throw on first down. Drills it across the middle, incomplete for Barnett, who probably should have had that at the 46. Defensively, that's Reggie White at the nose tackle, but parenthetically you say it's not that Reggie White. Pitts, Troy Roberts gets a start tonight. Willie McGinnis, the #1 draft choice, anchors the linebacking core. That inside linebacker is a real question mark. Maurice Hurst, Bill Parcells, says has a chance to be the best quarterback he's ever coached. Third down. Kelvin Martin in motion, Cunningham back. Not a lot of pressure. Dances right. That's what he does so well. Kelvin Martin, first down. Tackled by Ricky Reynolds.
Well, one of the things they want to do with Randall Cunningham this year is make certain that he doesn't take the sack. I mean, he's been remarkable over the years of being able to avoid people and make some big plays, but they're trying to eliminate the negative plays, the interceptions, the sacks. And when he gets out here in the open, this is where he's most difficult, clearly, but he saw the field, he looked downfield, he was looking to throw the ball rather than looking to run it, and that's where they think Kelvin Martin will be a major factor as a third down receiver.
Calvin Williams back in on first down. Ricky Waters in motion out of the backfield. Cunningham looks for him. Now it's tipped away at front for his tight end. And Marty More, 12th round draft choice of a year ago, knocks it down. Had an interception last week in the win over Minnesota.
You know, for all those players who don't think the preseason's important, I'll tell you, Marty More, number 58 right there, proves that he was the last guy picked a year ago, the 222nd pick in the entire draft. And there's guys like that just fighting and scrambling. He still is, even though he made the team a year ago. And that's what this game is tonight. This is their chance, their last chance potentially to make the team.
Second and 10, no scar. Waters has it, slides off one tackle out across the 45 to the 46. And a bit of a physical confrontation.
Well, Ray Rhodes said in this third preseason game what he was hoping to get accomplished. He had 3 major goals. He wanted to work on his red zone offense when he got inside the 20. They have not done that well in this preseason. Wanted to work on the nickel offense. They did convert once on 3rd and 3 to Kelvin Martin. And then he wants to take a good look at his short yardage offense. He was not happy with the way they performed thus far in short yardage situations.
He's got a 3rd and long now. 3rd down 7. Cunningham, blitz coming. Cunningham rolls to his right, goes deep. Caught by Barnett. No, dropped by Barnett. Thought he had it.
Kevin Turner, number 34 for the Eagles, is a new member. We talked about him. Watch it right there in the middle of your screen. Watch him come in and pick up the blitz. Kevin Turner is a guy that is a quarterback saver. I mean, you talk about the sacks that the Eagles gave up last year, 43 to Cunningham. Kevin Turner is one of the great blitz blockers out of the backfield.
Here's Tom Hutton with the first part of the game, and the left-footed kicker sends it way up in the air. No fair. Oh, yes, there is a fair catch. Taken by Dave Meggett, who played with such brilliance for Bill Parcells at New York. No score, first quarter. No score, 12:25 to go opening quarter. Patriots have the ball on offense for the first time, and Drew Bledsoe will open at quarterback. We expect to see him well into the second half today.
Yeah, and we talked about Parcells saying because he didn't know what kind of team he has, he's using this game to try to find that out. They really have some major question marks about the running game. They're going to need that.
4,555 yards a year ago from the 13 after the make it fair catch. Bledsoe play action. Has some pressure. Got him. Incomplete pass. Kurt Gouveia, who's been a standout at middle linebacker throughout the preseason.
Kurt Gouveia plays the pass as well as any middle linebacker in the NFL, but here he comes on the blitz, number 54, right in the middle of your screen. Perfectly timed. Actually, there's a poor block there by Curtis Martin. He ran right through the block of Curtis Martin to put the pressure on Drew Bledsoe. But Gouveia, great in the passing game, both as a cover linebacker and there as a blitzer.
2nd and 10, New England. There's the snap. Curtis Martin with the carry going left, and a good defensive surge led by William Thomas. Brisby and Moore at the wide receivers. Of course, Ben Coates had 96 catches at tight end last year. Jeff Dellenbach has come north from Miami to start at center. And Max Lane is getting the start, number 68 at right tackle. Pat Harlow, we are told, had arthroscopic surgery on his right ankle this morning, so that is a late change. Max Lane in number 68. Bledsoe make it the third down specialist, but he gets only 5 on third down. It'll be 4th, and the Patriots will punt. O'Neal, who did the kickoff chores, will also supply the punting talent. And the deep man is Kelvin Martin. Well, I remember once when he had an 85-yard punt return here against Philadelphia. That was a dagger to the heart. Almost blocked. Mark Woodard came on the punt rush and almost got there. Woodard comes to the sidelines. That's an almost. Time has been called. New England has given up the ball. 11:04 and a scoreless first quarter remains. And the Eagles have the ball at their own 46-yard line. Randall Cunningham, 1 of 4 on the first possession. Hard to imagine with all he's gone through. You think back, fresh-faced second-round draft choice, came up here and electrified everyone. 1985. Here's Barnett in motion, 1986, or rather 86, not 1986. And there's a false start. Well, this is a Philadelphia team that really had problems at the latter part. Here's Tom White, the referee.
False start. Number 80. Offense, 5 yards. Moving prior to the snap, still first down.
Still a good defensive team. 4th in total defense a year ago. You see what they did in the sack category. They put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. But on offense, 2nd most penalties to the Raiders. It allowed 48 sacks. Randall Cunningham took 43 of those. So those are the things they've been working with. Particularly, they've had him look at a whole sack reel.
Ricky Waters on the power sweep around right side. That's a gain of about 7.
You know, John Gruden, just to kind of finish up that story, the new offensive coordinator for the Eagles, really put a clips together of all his sacks, just so he could learn how to maybe get rid of the ball a little bit quicker. That's one of the real things they're trying to work on. And John is the youngest offensive coordinator in the league right now, celebrating his 32nd birthday today.
We didn't punch up the wrong picture. That is John Gruden, who is the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, it looks like he grew up eating airplane food.
Came over here, having served with Ray Rhodes for a while at Green Bay, started his coaching career in San Francisco as an assistant. There's the handoff to Waters, and he doesn't pick up much. But third down.
But Ray Rhodes said Gruden was his first hire. He knew that if he ever got a head job, age was not a factor. He was going to hire Gruden because he said when he was at San Francisco, Gruden, the very first thing he did was not get involved with the passing game, the receivers and the backs. He wanted to learn pass protection, how you protect a quarterback. And that it really impressed Ray Rhodes and said, when I get a head job, he's going to be my offensive coordinator.
He used to sit outside line coach Bob McKittrick's meetings